Hey guys, this is Mike Alhayek from CrestApps.com. In this screencast, I'm going to use Laravel-Code-Generator package to create CRUD from an existing database. In the previous screencast, we used the same package to write a small music library app. So I'm going to utilize most of the previously generated schema to create the resources from scratch. And just to show you where we stand today or where my project is, I'm going to show you the MySQL workbench. As you can see right here, there's only 3 tables, and here's the tables, here's the columns, and here's the other table and 3 of them. So there's 3 tables right there. And if I switch to my Sublime, as you can see right here, my controller folder is empty. It only has a base controller. There is nothing in the request folder, and then there is nothing in my resource file. I'm sorry, a resource folder or source folder, and on my routes are pretty empty here, so there's nothing. So we're starting fresh. There's absolutely no code whatsoever. And if you recall from the previous screencast, the way how this package works, it stores everything in a resource file. And then it uses that resource file, which is a JSON base, to create the resources. And so the first logical step is to create the resource file. But this time we already have the database, so what do we do? So we have one command that actually allows us to do that. I'm going to switch back here. I'm going to switch to my command line, and if I fire this command, and what this command does, it's a PHP Artisan resource file from database. So we're saying I want to create a resource file from existing database, and this command also accepts one argument, and the argument is a model name. Table name that it's going to be looking for, it's going to be the plural version of the model name. So in this case, it's going to be looking for a table with the name of singers. If that isn't the case, and for some reason you have a database name that isn't the plural version, you can pass the table name in here, and then you can pass whatever, and that will basically look for whatever to generate this resource. So in our case, we have a database table called singers, and if we go ahead and execute that, if you notice right here on the left side, there is now a new resource file here for the singers. And so now we have that. The next step would be to create the resources for it. So again, I'm going to copy that command so we can save some time. So PHP Artisan create resources. So go ahead and create resources for this model using that JSON file that we just created, and we fired it off, and sure enough, now we have a controller, and we have the model, and then we have the views, which is right here, the singers, and then we also have our routes registered. So all that happened now from our existing database. If I switch back to my Firefox and go singers, and sure enough, now we created the CRUD, all the CRUD from scratch. All came from existing database, and as you notice, there's already some data because there are some data in the database this time around. And we can add more if we want to. And there's gender, male and female. There's a placeholder for that. There's also music types, and there's there's options, and there's a placeholder, and then there's a boolean. It's a checkbox, and there's notes, and then you also have the option to edit. As you can see, we can also edit existing data. Everything was created in a matter of seconds. So what we just did is perfectly fine. However, it took us 2 steps in order to achieve this. If we go back to command line, we have done 2 commands: the PHP Artisan resource file from database, and then we create the PHP Artisan create resources to create the resources. That's perfectly fine, like I said, but there's one command that we can utilize that actually does both, and the behind the scenes issues both commands. And that command is PHP Artisan create resources. That's our favorite command because it does a lot. So PHP Artisan create resources, and then We pass the singer model name, but this time I'm gonna give it an option, which is dash dash table name. So we're saying go ahead and create resources. However, this time around, the table already exists, and what this command is going to do behind the scene is going to actually uh, create the resource file using the resource file from database, and then after it does that, it's going to create the second command. And if we run it right now, it's going to complain because the files do exist, which is great because again it's protecting us. And then so what we're going to do, we're just going to say go ahead and force it. So if you notice right here, it tells you the singers.json file was crafted successfully, and then it shows that it's creating the rest of it. So it's doing both in one line of code. Again, that just saves us times. So to move on, I'm going to go ahead and also create the other CRUD or the other resource file for my other tables. So we have PHP Artisan resource file from database, and we're going to do the song category this time around, and we have created that. And what I'm also going to do this time is I'm going to create also the other resource file, but this time we're going to do it for the song. So now we have song, we have the song category, the resource files are ready for us, but we have not created any resource for it. And I actually did that on purpose because I want to show you yet another command that will even make this process very fast. As you notice right here, you can easily pass the PHP Artisan create resource singer and then pass the table option. You can issue that 3 times and you are done. Right? But if you have, let's say a database with, let's say 30 tables or 20 tables, you're going to create, there's multiple commands that you would have to issue. So what you can do here, and again, just to show you another command, there is one command which is PHP Artisan create mapped resources. This create mapped resources, it actually does, it will create multiple resources at the same time. And the way how this one works is I'm going to switch back to my Sublime. And if you go into the resource folder and then in my source folder here, there is a file that is auto-managed by the package. It's called resources map. So if you click on this map has it has an array with objects, and this object right here, it gives you information about each resource that you created. So each time we actually issued that command, the create resource file, it actually appended entry right here. And what this tells me is that the model name is singer and the resource file is singers.json and the table name is singers, and it does the same thing. So what you can do, you can actually manually create this file. So you can actually go ahead and open up this file before you start anything and add all the tables that you want to create resources for. So you can add this, you can come in here and add another one that say, I don't know, test, and then tests, and then tests, and then basically you're saying, here's all the resources that I want to create the resources for. And so if you have all these mapped, which should be very quick and very fast to do, and we switch back to our command line and we pass PHP Artisan create mapped resources and we hit resources, watch what's going to happen. You're gonna it attempted to create all 3 of them all at the same time. So the first one, it complained, obviously, because it already exists. So it's protecting us. So it's ignoring all this. It's not overriding it. And then the second time around, it's doing the creating resources for the song category, and then the last one, it's for the songs. And if you want to override the other one, you can of course do this. And it's going to create all 3 of them. Another cool thing about this map file is that you can actually pass any command that is available for the create resource command. So in another word, I can do with form request, and I can say true. So I want this resource to come out with a form request. And here I'm going to do the same thing. And here I'm going to do the same thing. So now I have, or I want to create all three of them with form requests. So I can actually come back here and just do that and force it. And then if we switch to our Sublime here, you're going to see that everything is created. Here's the controllers, 3 controllers, and if you look at the form request, now I have 3 form requests, and just because I created those with a form request. So in a matter of seconds, we're able to generate all the resources that we need from existing database within seconds. Hopefully you guys liked this video, and talk to you in the next video. Thanks.